We are in the home stretch of the regular season. Padres continue to spin their wheels a little bit. Some good signs in the last week, some things to be encouraged about. But big picture, what is the level of concern about this team when the results just haven't come as consistently as we would like? Hello, myself on YouTube, Derek. I don't want to do that. Excuse me. A little technical difficulty there. How are you, Derek? How's your Thursday going? Padres play today. They got the Rockies. Hopefully get a chance to get a few wins. How are you doing on this Thursday afternoon?
No, as long as they don't lose a series to the Rockies, I'll be fine. Other stuff happened. Getting swept by the Orioles stunk. Dropping 2 out of 3 to the Reds and losing the season tiebreaker stunk. But as long as you're not losing to the Rockies, I'll still be. Everything is okay.
Don't get shut out by the Rockies. That doesn't seem like a too
that
tall.
That never happens. Please.
So we'll discuss some of the encouraging signs and again, just kind of our big picture outlook as October is fast approaching. First things first, thanks to Oach as a sponsor of the On Friar podcast. Appreciate all they do for On Friar and the NBC7 sports team. You need a place to catch the Padres game now that they're about to hit the road again after this weekend. Maybe college football Saturdays, NFL Sundays. OG's great place to do it. Tons of TVs, a bunch of locations around San Diego County. Great menu, which they are constantly updating, a bunch of specials that they're running all the time, and an awesome beer list, which I certainly enjoy and appreciate. So thanks to OGs and all they do for us. Without further ado, the walk-up music. The On Friar podcast brought to you by NBC7. He is Derek Toverson. I am Darnay Tripp, joining you on a Thursday afternoon with a rare Thursday evening home game against the Rockies. No day off this week, which we usually enjoy on these Thursdays. It's often a nice kind of reset between series, but this train keeps rolling along, Derek, at a time where it seems like maybe a day off would be good for them. They get one Monday, if I'm not mistaken, kind of a different schedule these last couple weeks. These pods are always a little bit tricky, in case something massive happens, in the game that people are about to watch. But I question if anything really is going to move the needle against the Rockies. It's not like they're playing the Dodgers, so maybe we've got that going in our favor a little bit.
Yeah, it's if anything massive happens tonight, it'll be something that's so massive we'd probably have to do an emergency podcast for anyway. I mean, it's Randy Vasquez is starting. They're playing the Rockies. It's one of those like, okay, we're starting to hit the home, playing out the string kind of thing. So yeah, this is not terribly pressing. I'm sure we can get away with a podcast here or not have to worry too much about anything going super haywire.
We just guaranteed for ourselves, right?
Somebody's going to go super haywire. Yeah.
It's going to go super haywire.
Exactly. And someone's going to hit 5 home runs in a game for the first time ever. It's going to, that's something insane is going to happen.
Well, we look forward to that emergency podcast that will come out later on this evening. Returned home, face the Reds, a team that is still kind of trying to scratch and claw their way back into the wild card picture, as well as the Giants. Dropped 2 of 3, an underwhelming series. Got the walk-off via the Tatis sac fly on Monday. Then they drop a pair. And once again, you're looking at a series against the Rockies to get the vibes back on track, which they eventually did last weekend. You finally got some quality pitching. A couple quality starts, and then 5 solid innings from Dylan Cease. You got 18 runs over 2 games, and you're like, okay, can they bring that home? And they kind of did on Monday, but that's tailed off since then. How are you feeling about things overall, Derek?
It's fine. All is well. This is not an issue. This is not an issue where everything's good. I mean, getting Michael King back is great. He threw 5 innings, probably a little bit more than most people thought he would in his first start back, given what he did the last time. But everything's fine. Everything's good. Everything's well. Still 5 up in a wild card. The magic number to clinch a postseason spot is 12 with 18 games left. Like I'll take that. And maybe it's because I've been in so many positions where the Padres were eliminated a month ago at this point in the season, where I'm just like, this is gravy. We're playing with house money here. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to work itself out.
I think you make a really good point there. And a good way to kind of steer the discussion is sort of like the sliding scale of expectations. And if we're panicking, what we're panicking about. You're absolutely right. I feel zero panic as far as the playoffs are concerned and simply reaching the playoffs, which was a huge deal when they did it in 2020 for the first time in 14 years. Now that they've done it 2 times since and appear on their way to what, 4 and 6 years, 4 playoff appearances in 6 years, that's not a concern. I think the concern more so is, can you replicate 2022? How deep can this team go? I think some of the conversations in the immediate aftermath about the potential of this team in the immediate aftermath of the trade deadline, when they reinforce, they bring in, a veteran starter. They add to the lineup. It looks like the catcher spot is bolstered, and you're like, okay, what are the weaknesses of this team? And I think we've been waiting for them to kind of hit that stride and for second half shilt to really happen, and it hasn't really happened. And so then the concern is, okay, maybe the ceiling isn't quite as high as we thought or hoped it might be after the trade deadline, because we just haven't seen it on a regular basis. Does that make sense?
It does. It really does. Because now it's kind of more of an issue of, and I think that, hey, here we go. David Leland says it perfectly. Worried about missing the playoffs? Not really. Worrying about our ability to make a postseason run? Absolutely. And that, I think, is where we're kind of sitting right now, where it's like, yeah, everyone knows, yeah, we're going to make the playoffs. That's fine. But right now, they don't seem to be in great form to make a run to the NLCS, the World Series, whatever it may be, because they're not hitting on all cylinders right now. Which is a completely valid point and a valid concern. I also will say we got 3 weeks left in the season. And we saw what happened with the Milwaukee Brewers when they won 600 games in a row or whatever it was. And now they seem like they just got swept by the Rangers. Second time they've been swept all year. Like they peaked may have peaked too soon. And now maybe they can't flip that switch again. So this team, we've seen when it gets hot what it's capable of. So I think we need to get into the final week of the regular season to then see what's their form look like right now, because playing 15 games in between now and that final series against the Diamondbacks and then into whatever part of the playoff round they get into is going to be a big difference. I mean, if they look like they do right now, that last week, now we've got serious concerns. Let's give them a little bit of time to hit that kind of stride that we've seen them hit multiple times over the last couple of years. Is that making any sense?
100%. And you don't have to go too deep into the history books for an example of a team that was spinning its wheels, whose playoff, like in 2022, we weren't sure if they were going to make the playoffs. Now we're pretty certain that they're going to make the playoffs. 2022, that wasn't the case. They have that disaster of a game in Arizona. Mike Schilt, Bob Melvin lights up the team. They blow out the D-backs the following Friday, and then they hit their stride, and they, go to the NLCS, have a chance. I mean, they're so close to taking the series against the Phillies back to Petco Park for the final 2 games. They end up, of course, falling short at Citizens Bank Park. But, a team that looked very meh, in mid-September, ended up going on one of the best postseason runs in franchise history. And so there is that just kind of, almost tormenting us in the back of our minds. Like, we saw the way the season started. We saw the way they played, around the All-Star break, right after the trade deadline. We know what this team is capable of, what their ceiling should be. If they get back to that, then, as you've said in the past, anything is possible with this team. Absolutely anything, because the guys are there. If you have Nick Pivetta pitching like he did last night, if you have Michael King, a full Michael King, Dylan Cease, we know what he can do. We know what Yu Darvish can do. We know what Robert Suarez, Mason Miller, Adrian Morejon can do. We know what the guys in the lineup can do. It just hasn't all come together at the same time. Wednesday being a perfect example, when Nick Pivetta shoves, and you can't do anything offensively. We know what the pieces are. We know what the capabilities are. There's no guarantee that shows up when it should, but there's always that lingering thought and hope that if it does, this team could be really scary in October.
Exactly. And that's what I think we have to look at right now, is you're right. With the reinforcements that came in, they're losing Jason Adam is awful. It
Right.
truly is awful. That bullpen is not the same. It's still a great bullpen. It's still among the best in baseball, maybe the best in baseball, but not having him there, it takes a little bit of that safety net away from the starting pitching that has been on shaky ground for a little while now. But still, this is a team that has really no major hole, aside from not being able to hit the ball out of the ballpark consistently. There's not a whole lot of major holes on this team. So wait and see what happens. Wait. I remember last year when they were facing the Braves in the wild card, and it was all of a sudden Chris Sale goes down like the day before game one. You're thinking, okay, they have to try and get through Chris Sale, and now they don't, and now it's a cakewalk into the National League Division Series. You just never know what's going to happen in the last week of a Major League Baseball season. One thing I can say I do not need is Jackson Merrill ever bunting ever again. That's one thing I don't need. I know he did it on his own. I know, I get, and that is your consummate team guy. Jackson Merrill is in scoring position in the batter's box. Okay. I understand you're trying to get runs. You're trying to move guys in scoring position. You got a couple of big league hitters behind you. Just don't do that. Don't do that anymore. I get it. I applaud him for being a team guy. Stop freaking bunting.
Jackson Merrill did that on his own, but is the influence of the coaching staff that has been very, very willing to go that path and sacrifice the potential of a big inning for the certainty of like one run in that spot. Like, has he been conditioned to do that in a situation like that? Schultz said something along the lines of, felt like an uncomfortable at bat for Jackson Merrill, felt like it was the right thing to do in that situation. Merrill, who homered Sunday, tripled Monday, had a double and a triple on Tuesday. I don't know how it feels to be in that batter's box, but that's a guy I would love to see swing away in a situation like that, given the way he was hitting the baseball.
You got a runner in scoring position. You got a guy second base. I understand you're trying to get guys in two guys in scoring position, and you're trying to avoid a double play. That's the worst thing you can have right there is double play ball. And again, bunting almost guarantees you're taking away a double play possibility. But dude, like, it's all he needs a single. A single very likely scores a run there. Like, that was the one thing I looked at and I'm like, don't tell me they're playing scared all of a sudden. Freddie for me bunts a lot because he's a really good bunter. And because the guy hitting behind him is Fernando Tatis Jr., who has the ability to drive in runs. So that one I get, right? That I understand to an extent. I know he's sitting 6th, 7th in the lineup right now, but he's still Jackson freaking Merrill. Don't do this go over conservative play scared crap now. This is not the time for that.
Well, I don't know if it's a right now thing. I mean, this is kind of the Mike Schilt MO a little bit.
Yeah, but it's with that guy, it's maybe he has to sit there and have a conversation with him like, Jackson, listen, I see what you're trying to do, and there are certain guys on this team that we're going to tell to square and bunts. You're not on the list. Okay? You're not, unless it is I've seen Manny square to bunt a couple of times, and it was because the third baseman was playing in shallow left bleachers. And like just kind of showing it like, you better come in a little bit because I'll drop one down on you. Like it's almost for fun, but he's not serious about bunting.
Yeah.
Jackson, I mean, if he sees the third baseman line way back, he's playing no doubles down the line at the step of the outfield grass. Fine. Try and drop one down and steal a base hit that way. A straight up sacrifice is like this, that I don't get. Jackson, you're not on the bunt list. Okay. So I think if you're going to a club, you think you're on the list, you're not on the list.
Our guy Chip Rocks is stewing after last night. Mike Schultz disaster of something asking to be managing last night made me miss Bud Black, Jace Tinkler, Andy Green, and Bo Mel. Ugh, that was brutal last night. I think a lot of that is pulling Ryan O'Hearn for a more defensive arrangement with Mason McCoy, and you end up with Bryce Johnson in a key at bat in the 9th inning.
I don't get the defensive thing late in games, great. Do that when you're protecting a slightly larger lead. You still need offense. You still, in a close game like that, you still need offense. It's, I would run prevention is fantastic, but it's not like you're bringing in the greatest defensive. Ken Griffey Jr. is not going out there to play center field for you. It's not that big of a change or a drop off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the cost benefit analysis is you're not gaining enough defense to justify taking away that level of offense. It's basically a wash.
Ha-seong Kim. If they had Ha-seong Kim and you were doing this with Ha-seong Kim, a guy that can be like a 250 hitter, 700-ish OPS guy in the bigs, who is great at shortstop, then I think it makes a lot more sense.
Yes, that I can see. If it's if you have Omar Vizquel, who you put out there at shortstop late in the game, fantastic. Now you're okay. No.
Yeah. And Schultz been asked about this and said about a week or so ago, reinforced how he's going to prioritize defense essentially, and they can't lose sight of defense in the sake of trying to score a few more runs. They need a few more runs right now.
Yeah,
you held the Reds to 2 runs last night. Pavetta shoved. You got some nice performance. Kyle Hart coming in. You got some really encouraging performance. Fernando Tatis Jr. hits a home run. You need to score runs. And I think I would err on the opposite side that Mike Schilt is erring on right now.
Yeah, I see where he's coming from. Is that he knows his offense is not performing terribly well right now, especially not at home, and especially not at home during night games. Pickle Park is rough at that point. Yeah, Big Island Bum. Yeah, you're right. That's a beautiful dog, by the way. That's a cutie. They need a lot more runs. And you're not going to get that by. Bryce Johnson he's a good little at bat. He gets you a single, he'll get on base. He's had a really nice year for him offensively. He's not Gavin Sheets. He's just not.
Yeah, Chip Rock saying, if Mike's going to pull Ryan, why the heck is he putting in Bryce? He should have been running for Sheets and have Iglesias. I rather have a righty versus righty matchup than have to depend on Bryce. I don't know.
Yeah, I get it. I get where he's coming from. He wants massive run prevention when you're not having run production. But I would say, you know what? Keep on putting those guys out there to unlock the run production.
Mm-hmm.
Play again, playing scared, managing scared, or to cling onto that lead. Ask the late great Marty Schottenheimer would have won probably 2 or 3 Super Bowls had he just loosened things up in the postseason a little bit. He had the best team in the league, God knows how many times, and he would get too tight in the postseason because he started playing being scared, trying to protect leads or pound the football or not go so risk averse. You never want to turn the football over. That it changes the identity of your team leading into a big game. It's kind of what Schulte's doing right now. He's changing the identity of the team and not what they do. We're going to get out. We're going to be aggressive all the time. We're going to go after. We're going to compete. Well, right now Schulte's not competing. He's protecting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's not the DNA of this club.
Yes, beginning of the season, we do not feel pressure. We apply pressure. Does that feel anything like this Padres team right now?
Not right now, no. Right now they are trying to, maybe they have talked themselves into believing that they're applying pressure with a smothering defense, but it's not, listen, it's not like, it's not the NFL, you
have a pass rush.
You can't just throw Micah Parsons out there and say, go get him. This is not how this works.
Yeah, you can't dial up the full court press,
Well, you can't play 40 minutes of hell. You can't
guard 94 feet.
It doesn't work that way. You
know?
You can't employ the left wing lock for you hockey fans.
Yeah, and the other thing too is okay, we've seen the desire to be more defensive sting them. That has stung them in recent weeks.
Yep.
Have we seen them prioritizing offense sting them in that same way yet? Where maybe there is a costly error at short or at second base because you have Arraez or what have you. I can't think of a situation or a moment where having a more offensive configuration has burned them. And I'm at the point where I'm willing to see that happen, where there is that costly flub of some sort that maybe causes the other team to score a couple runs in the inning that they shouldn't, and offensively for them to then have to play catch up. I don't think that has happened. And I'm at a point where, like, okay, let's wait for that to happen before we kind of retreat and get the Mason McCoys of the world and the Bryce Johnsons of the world reps in big moments where, like, we probably have better talent on the roster.
That's a great point, Arraez. Is you're right. The lack of offense in games has hurt them, but the lack of a more on paper efficient defensive configuration has not hurt them, right? So I think what you're saying is, give me the offense, and then we'll see if the defense hurts us, because we don't know if that's going to happen, but we have a pretty decent sample size now of the lack of offense is hurting them. So now you're just going back to do the same thing over and over again, which is we're going to do this, and we're going to make sure we don't give up runs, which, okay, you're doing that, but you're also not scoring runs, and you're almost doing so willfully at this point. So, yeah, I agree with that completely. Let's see if the guys you're leaving in there for their bats eventually do end up hurting you with their gloves, because we haven't seen that yet.
Yeah. And, Mike Schultz had this team so dialed last year from like May on or whenever it was. And it feels a bit like he's having a hard time managing this club this year. Like, it's just not come as naturally as it did last year, where he was consistently pushing the right buttons.
Last year, I see it mostly with, the bullpen decisions have been, for the most part, really good. He's got a really good bullpen to go to. Offensively, you saw it early in the year, pretty much all of last year and early this year, where every time he would put a pinch hitter in or a pinch runner in, it worked.
Solano, right? Peralta, yeah.
Right. It just worked, Donovan Solano, whatever it may be. It just worked almost every time. It felt like that decision was the right one because something good happened with it. This year, those same decisions are not leading to the same amount of success. And there are a lot of factors that are contributing to that. One is Jackson Merrill hasn't been the same. He's been hurt off and on all year. Manny's probably dealing with something. He hasn't been the same guy down the stretch. Toddy has just been he's been Jekyll and Hyde, like we've seen him do so many times. Luis Arraez hasn't been Luis Arraez. So he's got to try to find that hot hand somewhere. But even more so is with the starting pitching. I think with the way that the starting pitching has been, especially of late, not having Michael King, Yu Darvish hasn't been the same guy. Dylan Cease, you never know what version of him you're going to get. Nick Pivetta has been the one constant. But even when he's out there, it's almost like the offense is trying too hard to get runs because they know they need to help out the pitching staff, and then nothing's working. I think it's one of those things where you got to let the game come to them. You know what I mean? Like last year, Darvish was good down the stretch. King was fantastic down the stretch. Dylan Cease was good down the stretch. You had Joe Musgrove. There eating a lot of innings down the stretch until that wild card game 2 start, where that's kind of where it all went haywire for him. You don't have him this year. You don't have that guy who's that steadying presence in the rotation aside from Pivetta. And Pivetta's a guy he's a great pitcher, is a great dude. He's not the, rally of the troops kind of guy. Joe Musgrove is the rally of the troops kind of guy. So you're missing that kind of presence. And I think that's probably not been looked at. I know I haven't thought about it as much until very recently. Not having his presence in that rotation and what he does and the tone that he sets. It's I think that you're seeing a lot of that right now.
Yeah. No, I think it's a really great point. If you're going to discuss positives, I think like there are a few you could point to. Actually, a question first before I get to that, because you mentioned the bullpen. Now Miller and Suarez both down yesterday after pitching Monday and Tuesday. Miller strikes out the side. Suarez walk, home run, and they lose the game. And then there starts to be some chatter about how you use these guys. Now they both got used, and they both got used basically to deal with the top and middle of the Reds order. So, they were both challenged. It's not like one guy had a cakewalk and one guy faced like murderer's row, so to speak.
De La Cruz and right.
If you were to, how close are you to getting to a point where, say you are facing like, say it's a Dodgers playoff series and you're thinking about, the Conforto. I don't even know if Tommy Edman is healthy. Those guys down the line.
He actually was activated today.
There you go. 6, 7, 8, 9 versus, okay, Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Will Smith down the line. How close are you to getting to a point, not maybe necessarily because Suarez has been bad, but because Mason Miller has been so incredibly dominant? What is it? 55 strikeouts in 29 innings or something stupid like that, where you then think more so like, when we really need a lockdown guy, regardless of the inning or situation, we're going to go with Mason Miller instead of Robert Suarez.
I'm there. I've been there for a while. I've been there when they got him.
I didn't realize it. I know this has come up.
Listen, and we have seen this actually. We have seen him do. I've seen it in person a couple of times where Mason Miller is brought in the 8th inning or even the 7th inning. Where like, okay, this is the 2, 3, 4. All right, you know, it's probably Padres up by 1 or 2. A save situation is looking fairly likely. Get these guys now, and that's when Mason Miller comes in. So not saving him for the 9th inning. I think it goes to more of Mason Miller is going to be the guy who, if you get in the 7th, 8th, 9th innings, you start looking at the opposing team's lineup. Where are we? Wherever that biggest threat comes, that's where Mason Miller pitches. I'm wondering if it's not Suarez has the 9th inning and that goes to someone like Estrada, or Morahone, where I'm not sure if I right now, honestly, I get a little uneasy when I see Robert Suarez coming into a close game. Because it's been too many times now where he has just not had the ability to lock that down. So Miller is your swing guy of where your highest leverage outs are. That's who he goes and gets. And then work it out amongst the other ones to see who gets the quote unquote 9th inning duty.
Yeah. And you lay that out perfectly. And I think that's something where like we as fans kind of have to like adjust it in our brains because we're so used to 9th inning closer. That's your lockdown guy. But the game isn't necessarily going to present that one day to the next. Like we hear all the time, close comes in the 8th or the save came in the 8th. And so that's where like the conventional wisdom you kind of have to throw out the door a little bit, especially once you get into a playoff series and that sort of thing, because that situation might present itself earlier, and we could very well see Mason Miller in the 7th. Now, it might be Robert Suarez in the 9th again, and if something goes down, we can't necessarily say, well, why'd they throw Robert Suarez there? They actually were taking some of the heat off Robert Suarez by pitching him in the 9th as opposed to the 7th when you were facing kind of the meat of the order. So I know it's kind of an interesting dynamic.
It really is. It's one of those where it's like, I would love to be able to say, especially in San Diego, no franchise has a richer history of closers than the San Diego Padres does. And it's not even close, right? You're going back to Goose Gossage, Raleigh Fingers, Mark Davis won a Cy Young Award, Trevor Hoffman, Heath Bell was an all-star, Kirby Yates was an all-star, Houston Street was an all-star, Brad Hand was an all-star, Robert Suarez was an all-star. I mean, the closer spot in San Diego was that?
Mark Melanson was an all-star.
Mark Melanson, thank you, was an all-star. Like the closer spot in San Diego this is what we do. This is what we do, right? The closer entrance music was invented in San Diego. Like this is our thing, right? So it's very weird to not say, oh yeah, this is our dude. This is our 9th inning. Of course we got a 9th inning dude. This is our dude. Josh Hader was an all-star, as much as I hate saying that man's name. It's you've got the dudes, you got the horses in the history to do it. So it's nice to have that. But with the way things are going right now, it would be wonderful to say, all right, big game, Bob, the 9th inning is yours. This is your thing. This is great. And then we're going to kind of, use our chess pieces however we want to leading up to you. But right now, I can't in good conscience condone doing that.
Sean chiming in, the best defense for San Diego is a good offense, getting those extra runs on the board and taking the pressure off the guys on the mound. Slam Diego.
Agreed, Sean. Agreed.
San Diego seems like a long time ago. Hey, in terms of bright spots, Fernando Tatis Jr., 3 homers in 7 games, hasn't had a stretch like that since May.
Jackson is he swinging at his rear end right now?
I mean, I don't know. He's putting the ball he's pulling the ball in the air, and I think that's making a difference.
It's controlled chaos with this swing.
It's controlled
chaos. He's not selling out nearly as much as he was early in the year, and it's working for him.
Yeah, it is. A good few games for Jackson Merrill, despite the bunt. Xander Bogaerts cleared for baseball activities. He said the other day he expects to play before the regular season ends and thinks that could be big for him. So, promising signs. I think Fernando Tatis Jr., again, like in terms of unlocking the Padres' full potential, like of all these, Fernando Tatis Jr. just smoking baseballs is the one for me.
That's the way to go. I mean, look, the home run he hit last night was just foot down, throw the hands.
Yeah.
That's it. Done. End of story. Foot down, throw the hands. Do that. Just do that every time. Wherever the ball is, work the middle of the field, foot down, throw the hands. That's when he's doing that, he's almost unstoppable. He's on the level of the Ohtanis and Judges of the world when he's doing that. He just does it so rarely that it drives everybody insane. The one that actually I saw one up here, Chip Rocks again, is saying, but both of you guys need to ask Schulte, why is he so adamant about keeping in Arraez in the second hole? The dude's killing us every swing shot and hit home runs. He's not the second coming of Bonds. And thank God for that. Barry Bonds was not a good human being. And Luis Arraez, I just want to give a big hug every time I see him. I've asked Schulte about lineup construction, kind of hinting at whether or not Luis Arraez is going to stay in that spot. He doesn't seem too terribly keen on changing anything right now. And we've talked about it on this podcast, Darnay. Like, why not hit him ninth? Why not get that second leadoff man kind of thing? Because it's not right now. It ain't where he's not the Luis Arraez that we know and love. He's just not. So I'd say move O'Hearn up there, move Merrill up there. If you like the right left thing, move Cronenworth up there. Whatever you need to do. I just don't. Right now, Luis Arraez does not warrant being in the number 2 spot. Yes, he has third or fourth most multi-hit games in baseball this year, but he's getting his knocks in bunches. I mean, it's a 1 for 4, an 0 for 4, an 0 for 3, and then a 4 for 5. And then he goes right back to 1 for 5, whatever it may be. The consistency is just not there right now. So if you're going to have a guy who's going to be that inconsistent in the same spot in the order that Mike Trout hits, you need more consistency from that spot in your lineup. And so I am more than willing to say, put somebody else in there to see if you can do something with it.
Preaching to the choir. And I think, again, that's, to be a little bit critical of Schilt. And we've seen him do some different things with the lineup, some, more frequent days off for Luis Arraez. But I think just the hesitance to try some things is right up there on the list in terms of sources of frustration. Let's get creative with it and see if having Ramon Laureano or Jackson Merrill or whoever else hitting number 2, if that, props up this lineup a little bit more.
I mean, look at the lineup last night, right? Tatis, right. Arraez, left. Machado, right. Sheets, left. Laureano, right. Merrill, left. And then O'Hearn, left. Cronenworth, left. Diaz, right. Okay? Or for me, whatever the catcher is going to be there. It's pretty good. That makes a lot of sense with the left, right. But Arraez is hitting 282 with a 702 OPS. You got a lefty in Sheets with a 793. You got a lefty in O'Hearn with an 804. You got a lefty in Croner with a 757. You got 3 other options right now that are getting on base at a better clip than Luis Arraez is, with some power options. So the numbers right now simply don't make sense. And I know he's riding Louis because he sees what the potential is. He knows that at any given moment he can go on a 30 for 55 stretch, and he's kind of waiting for that to come around. But we got 18 games left. It hasn't happened by now. You don't know if it's going to happen. Go with what you know. This is the point of season where you go with what you know, and what you know is Luis Arraez hasn't been the same guy. So try something else.
Well, and it would be very easy if you want to keep the right-left nature of the lineup to drop Luis Arraez in the lineup because you have a lefty in Gavin Sheets, a lefty in Jake Cronenworth, and a lefty in Jackson Merrill that are hitting significantly better than Luis Arraez. Luis Arraez, who's WRC plus, and some numbers that I want to run by you, with one in particular that we'll get to in terms of a guy that can unlock the potential of this team. But Luis Arraez, WRC plus since August 1st, 70. Jake Cronenworth's WRC plus since August 1st, $144. Gavin Sheets, 196.
You just proved our point. I think right. Loyalty is a wonderful thing. Going on track record is a wonderful thing. we played 144 games. There's your track record.
I mean, that like at some point this season is going to be on the back of somebody's baseball card. And Mike Shilton likes to use the back of the baseball card thing. Well, at some point, 2025 is going to be on the back of Luis Arraez's baseball card.
Yep.
And so we should probably take that into some consideration, which he seems hesitant to do. Tatis needs protection lineup. If I'm a pitcher and I see that Arraez on deck is from Chip Rocks, I'd rather pitch to him instead of Tatis. I think that's been part of the issue.
Chip Rocks gets the producer credit for this podcast.
Chip Rocks has made more valuable points than I think you and I combined in this episode.
I wouldn't doubt it.
It's been really, really frustrating. Like there's enough, like you just said, there's enough of a track record from this season alone to make a drastic move, and we haven't seen it yet.
But is that really a destiny? Is I don't
right.
see
For Mike Shildt, yeah, you're right. It is not a drastic move. It feels that way because of Mike Shilt's apprehension about making that move.
Yes, exactly. Dropping a guy from 2nd to 7th might feel like a drastic move, but when you look at the numbers, it's not. It's just not. And Louis is a guy who you don't have to worry about crushing his ego. If anything, he'd get pissed off and start swinging the bat better. You don't have to worry about that guy going in a tank and not wanting to help the team because he feels like he's been disrespected. It's not his personality. He's not that guy.
Yeah.
If anybody in the lineup could handle a demotion or a move down, it would be Louis. So just freaking do it.
You care to guess Manny Machado's WRC plus since October 1st?
August 1st?
What did I say? Yeah, August 1st.
Okay, October, September. Let me see. He's completely ruining my prediction. He have his first 300 season here. So way to go, Manny. He was at 296 when I said that, and he's down to 274, something like this. So I'm going to guess his WRC plus during that stretch is probably 76.
56.
What? I was half right.
You were half right, and I think about.
I was hoping that would not be the number that was correct.
I do think about your Manny Machado 300 prediction all the time. Not to needle you for being off the mark, because good gracious, go back to that episode. I got some bad ones. But God, just out of sadness, because I think that would have been so cool, and it has gone so awry since. When you said that, I was like, I want this to happen for him.
That's one of the worst things I ever said.
It looked really good in the moment, and I would have loved to have seen it happen. I'm bummed out that he's not sniffing it anymore for a variety of reasons, for him personally and for the state of the team, because he's been bad. I think even his own estimation, he's been bad, and I think he's worn out. I think Fernando Tatis Jr. has looked worn out for a couple months now, but Manny's talked about that and how it's probably too late to take a day off. I probably should have snuck one in the last few weeks, but can't do that now. Do it on Sunday. Don't play Manny Machado on Sunday. I don't care what happens. You're playing the Rockies.
Sit him for this series. Just get the man off his feet. He needs a break. He needs it's the Rockies. If you need Manny Machado to take 3 or 4 from the Rockies, then you're in big trouble. All right, sit him, put him on the bench for a little while. Let him DH the entire series. Whatever you need to do, get the man off his feet, because you're right. He's either battling something or he's completely worn down, or both. I would probably lend toward the latter of it being a little bit of both. Toddy's thing is all upstairs. He's mentally fatigued for some reason. Because if you're 26 years old, you probably. And by the way, defensively, he's probably a Platinum Glover again this year. He's making catches I didn't even know were humanly possible. Yeah. So geez. Get him a day to just relax mentally. It's tough because now we're getting into that crunch time, right? And Manny even says, listen, I probably should take a day off. Then give the man a day. It's the Rockies. They're going to lose 120 games this year.
And you've got a day off on Monday. You're flying across the country to take on the Mets. I don't even care if he comes to the stadium. How you you work in places that have my days. So, if like your car breaks down, or if you have to
Yeah.
take care of a sick kid, or if your power goes out and you got to do stuff in the house, like you
Yeah.
take a my
Personal
day,
days, right?
personal day. It's, not a vacation day. It's like, give Manny a my day on Sunday. Let him stay home in Coronado, hang out with his kid in Yaine, and just not think about baseball. Is this preferential treatment? Would you do this for anybody? Probably not. I would consider it for other guys if they were really scuffling and they have the value to this team that Manny Machado has. But give Manny a my day on Sunday. Give him 2 straight days off before the last 2 weeks of the regular season. Why not? And
send him
the
out
only
fishing with Don Orsillo on the mini yacht. I mean, Dad, just forget about everything for a while.
And the only guys in his stratosphere, or in his neighborhood, I should say, in terms of games played this season, are Fernando Tatis Jr. and Luis Arraez. Like, nobody else is over like 131, 120. Manny has played more games than anybody else. Like, he is due a day off. He should have taken more days off, and he did not. And that's probably going to be a lesson that he needs to learn now on the other side of 30, now 32, 33 next season. He's going to have to pace himself a little bit. Didn't do a good job of that this year. Give him a forced day off on Sunday, so he's got back-to-back days off, and hopefully can be a little bit more fresh going into this road trip.
Yeah, I know. It's, you think 32, it shouldn't be, 32, 33 shouldn't be that much. He's been playing at the major league level 160 games a year since he was 20. Right? He's played a lot. He's played a lot of baseball games. He's played hurt. He's out there grinding. He's constantly working. It's with Manny. I know it's a pride thing, and I know it's I want to set the example and help the team thing. But he also has to understand, man, he's got to. If he's not being Manny Machado, then he needs to do something to help himself become Manny Machado again. Because this, while it's admirable to want to be out there every single day, if you're not doing the things that the team is paying you to do and that they need you the most to be able to do, you've got to figure out a way to get back to that version of yourself. And playing every day is not it's not it. It's not working right now.
On a similar note, as far as Tatis goes, he does reach a maybe notable milestone that could explain some of the fatigue, maybe not from a mental standpoint, but from a physical standpoint. Most games played in one season, 140. Excuse me. I got that wrong. He passed it last night. So he's at 142 games. Most he's played in a regular season. He's at 141 in 2023. And so he's played more than he has played in his entire life. And so that could be contributing to it. And even in like that 2023 season, when did he arrive? Like April 20th after the suspension ended, he missed like the first 20 or so games. So every single season, except for this, he's had an extended absence of some sort, whether it's obviously the suspension, but the shoulder issues, going back to his rookie season, the back, the delayed start in 2023, last year, the femur injury. He's had something that's popped up that's cost him a week or 2 weeks every single season that you don't like, but it's given him a little bit of a break and maybe has allowed him to stay fresh through the course of the season. He's not had that. He's just, and we've been asking for a season like this where he stays healthy and he's on the field all the time. He's done that this year, and fingers crossed he makes it to the finish line. But now he has played more games than ever in his life, and that might be something he has to adapt to as well.
Yeah, it's almost like you see it in the NBA. College basketball players play with 33, 34 games, and then the NCAA tournament, if they make a run all the way to the national championship game, they're like Cooper Flagg never played more than like 36, 38, 40 games in a season. This year, he's going to play 82. So there's that, you see it with every rookie where they hit that spot where it's like, whoa, hold on to this. I'm not used to this. This is where I should be shutting down. This is what kind of where the season ends, and have to go through push through that plateau. It could very easily be the fact that Tatis's body right now is like, oh, I'm not used to this many baseball games in 1 year. What's going on here?
Yeah. Hitting that, you're talking about like a rookie wall. I mean, it's even in the NFL when you're playing like 10, 12 games during the college regular season. Now you're playing 17, potentially going to the playoffs. It's like it's a different ball game. He just happens to be 26 hitting the rookie wall.
Seriously.
In his seventh Major League Baseball season? Is that what it is? Crazy.
Good Lord, see.
9, 0, 1,
19,
2,
20.
3,
Well,
4,
can we
5,
count
yeah,
20?
7.
19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Yeah. So, well, he also missed,
Other
again,
than
all of
missing a season,
22.
yeah. 7
So this would
years as a
be
Major League Baseball player.
five and a half season.
Yeah. No. Let's go back to our original question, Derek. Everything in consideration, we've established we're not worried about the playoffs. What's your level of concern about this team's ability to make a run? We'll say make a run being what do we consider making NLCS? Like, I think we could see them, winning a wild card series, get to the NLDS,
Yep.
anything can happen there. But in terms of because I think again after the trade deadline, felt like okay, this is a team certainly could make it to the championship series.
Yeah.
So, what's your level of concern that they can match, say, a 2022 run based on what we're seeing right now?
Well, as the way things
Scale
stand
of
now,
1 to 10. Scale of 1 to 10. 10 being we're hammering the panic button. We are alarmed.
oh, right now it's a 2. I'm not. No. Again, we got 18 games left. Ask me that question again the final week of the year. Leading up to that last series against the Diamondbacks. Because right now it's like, all right, the flip could switch. The switch could flip tonight.
Sure.
We do it again. We saw. I'll bring up the Brewers again as an example. You saw how hot they were, and they have now lost that momentum. They may have very well peaked way too soon, and they now look like a very vulnerable team that could be gotten in the National League Division Series as the number 1 seed. Which, by the way, the things stand right now, if the Padres get through the Cubs, they would be playing the Brewers in the Division Series, and then it would be either the Phillies or the Dodgers, most likely, in the Championship Series. So you wouldn't. The way stacking up here is you wouldn't face LA until the Championship Series. So. Yeah, my concern right now is not of them making a run, going to at least the National League Championship Series, one of the final 4 teams standing in baseball. I think that constitutes a quote unquote playoff run. So anything up to that is an appearance. A run takes you through 2 rounds. That's pretty good into the 3rd round. It's a 2. We just don't know. We don't know what this team's going to. We don't know what Michael King is going to be after 3 more starts. We don't know if Dylan Cease is going to figure things out. We don't know if Nick Pivetta is going to continue on the run that he is. We don't know if Yu Darvish is going to look like the guy who threw 6 innings of 1-run ball against the Dodgers, or what he's looked like against more or less everyone else he's faced. We don't know. We don't know who the closer is going to be. Is it going to be Mason Miller or Robert Suarez? There are a lot of things we don't know. Again, we can make some pretty good educated guesses, but I am not concerned right now. I'm not concerned at all, because if you get in the tournament, you've got a chance. And we've seen teams who kind of limp their way into the postseason all of a sudden catch fire again and run all the way to a parade. So I'm not ready to push any kind of panic button yet. I'm at a 2. How about you?
That's the caveat, right? Is hoping that all the things come together. But if I'm going solely based on what I'm seeing right now, my concern level is probably like a 7. If I'm just going based on what is in front of me. Now, again, we know, like I acknowledge all the potential, and I'm not going to feel dumb if they then go to the NLCS, because they're not going to do it playing the way that they're playing right now. I think that would be a pretty big surprise if they don't pick up their, if Manny Machado is a 56 WRC plus guy and Luis Arraez is a 70 WRC plus guy, and rotation can't consistently get you more than 5 innings, and they go to the NLCS, I'm concerned about how everybody else is playing as well. The level of baseball might not be very high, but if I'm just going based on what I'm seeing right now and the current state of the team right now, I'm going to say I'm like at a 7 or maybe even pushing 8.
Yeah. If I would say this, if this is the version of the team that we see in the final week of the season, I'm at a 9. Right.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. But again, we're 3 weeks away from that.
It's fair.
It's fair. We had a lot of baseball to play. And here's the thing. They're playing the Rockies this weekend. If they go out and sweep all 4 from Colorado, who's already lost 104 games this year, and are being outscored, they've allowed 931 runs this year already, which is just staggeringly terrible. If they go out and not win this series against them, and we'll come back and talk on Monday, I'll be like, I'm at a 56. My level of concern is Manny's WRC plus, right? But then everybody's going to go, oh, they righted the ship. We're good. No problem. Roll the magic numbers in single digits with 2.5 weeks left. No problem. We're fine. So let's let a few things play out here and see where we really need to be at the end of the year.
619 Cam, definitely have a high concern since the Padres cannot even beat these sub 500 teams now, and in the playoffs, I don't see the Padres slugging all of a sudden, beating a good team on the road. Well, Trent Grisham magically hit a bunch of home runs, and Austin Nola and Jerks and Profar. So there is some precedent there. There is some precedent for this.
Look at one of the heroes of all those Braves World Series teams was Mark Lemke. Remember that guy?
Mm-hmm.
That little light hitting middle infielder. All of a sudden, he went from being Mark Lemke, and when the playoffs started, he turned into Joe Morgan. And there's no rhyme or reason to any of it. So the bright lights of the playoffs affect everyone just a little bit differently. So Dylan Cease turns into a guy who's scared to pitch, and Michael King turns into a dude who looks like Walter Johnson. So you just don't know what you're going to get with these guys coming down the stretch.
Ross had a 1076 OPS in 2010 for the Giants on the way to a World Series.
Who was that?
Cody Ross. He's always the random guy I think about. When you're making an argument like this, Cody Ross is always the first person that comes to mind.
Yep, Cody, another one who just Big Panda. Pablo Sandoval. He was really good in the regular season, and then the postseason started, and all of a sudden he was Mickey freaking Mantle. It's what nobody understands why these things happen. And then for the longest time, it was like Phil Mickelson for decades, never won a major, can't win a major, can't figure it out, never going to do it, and he ends up with 6. Roy Williams could never win a national championship. Never going to do it, never going to do it, never going to do it. And then he's in Carolina, and he turned out to be a guy who could coach to a national championship. Things you don't know how anyone's going to figure things out or how their careers are going to unfold. And when all the crucible of the pressure of the playoffs are on you.
I do feel like next week's series against the Mets is maybe like a perfect barometer, because the Mets are a playoff team. They are slumping, but you're going on the road against what is, ostensibly a quality playoff team.
Very much
something
so,
you might have to do in the wild card round. They don't appear to be playing their best baseball right now. Like, that series might tell you something, as we at that point will be a week and a half out from the end of the regular season. I might be willing to read a little extra into what happens those 3 days in Queens.
I just looked at, just on a whim, the Padres rotation. Look at their innings pitched. They have 3 players who have gone over 100 innings pitched this year: Pivetta, Cease, and Randy Vasquez. Can you tell me who has pitched the 4th most innings for the San Diego Padres in 2025?
Pivetta, King, and Vasquez.
Vasquez at the top 3. Yep. Who has pitched the 4th highest number of innings for the San Diego Padres in 2025?
I feel like you wouldn't be asking me this question if it were you, Darvish.
It's not you, Darvish.
So if I'm going to go slightly off the wall, would I say Stephen Kolek?
Stephen Kolek. Very good. Good guess.
Where's he at?
79 2/3 innings. Stephen Kolek, who started in the minors, came up as a reliever and was traded at the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Is throwing the 4th most innings for the San Diego Padres this year. If that tells you any indication of the state of their starting rotation throughout the year, and they're still sitting here, owners of the number 5 wild card spot with a magic number of 12. So, if anything, this team has been resilient as hell this year. And that's why, with 18 games left, I'm not hitting the panic button. Because if any team has shown the ability to bounce back, they're the Michael Myers of baseball. They lose Xander Bogaerts and Michael King, and they keep coming back and finding ways to win and staying in contention. This team has proven to me that it's got a whole hell of a lot of guts. And I'll go to battle with guts any day.
Kolek, 2 starts, 3 earned runs, 13 innings for the Royals. Could have used those 2 starts.
Yes, they could have. Yeah, after that, by the way, it is Morejon, Estrada, Adam, Peralta. Wandy Peralta,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah.
And then Michael
yeah.
King. Michael King
Yep.
and Robert Suarez have thrown the same number of innings this year.
That tracks.
62 and 2/3.
Jeez.
Yep. I know. They have had how many different, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 different players make a start for them, including Matt Waldron, Sean Reynolds, Wandy Peralta, David Morgan twice.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, they won't need everybody once they get to October. You need 3 arms.
And the championship series, you might need 4. And the division series, you might need 4. Yeah.
Well, no, since they added that day off.
Oh, the National League gets that
now.
extra day off. You're right.
Yeah.
Yes. So 3, you can get away with 3. Championship series, you might be in trouble.
Chip Rocks, you guys are my therapy. Just saying. Well, I'm concerned about you now, Chip Rocks. Let me direct you to a
We are not licensed.
more
to be
qualified
therapists.
professional.
I've got a great therapist I talk to. I will share that information offline if you'd like. We just, I know. Sometimes, you know what? Sometimes it's not so much therapeutic so much as it is cathartic just to get around and hear other people who either A, share your concerns, or B, don't want to admit that those concerns could possibly be existing. So it's either group therapy or group hypnosis. I'm not sure exactly which one it is yet.
Well, this is a fun one. We'll be with you after the series finale against New York. Well done by you, Derek, and well done by today's honorary third co-host, Chip Rocks.
Well done, sir.
We'll see you guys next week.